right, let's talk about the mass stupidity that's currently an epidemic in the US. And yes, the epidemic of stupidity of all these mass shootings is an epidemic of stupidity, but there's a new one. And the new one is, let's be scared of our own shadow and shoot anything that moves. AKA minor mistakes becoming a reason to try to kill people. Now, let's start with the latest one, which is man accused of shooting 6-year-old neighbor, parents arrested in Florida. Now, he turned himself in. So, because this is a neighbor, I'm going to say that maybe this wasn't a standalone incident of absolute rage at nothing, because they are neighbors, so maybe there is some history where the neighbors don't like each other. I mean, this is North Carolina. So, and the man who shot was black. The victims were white. So, maybe there was some underlying tension that just spilled over. We don't know yet. But I'll get to the rest of it after I read this article. A North Carolina man accused of shooting and wounding a 6-year-old girl and her parents after children went to retrieve a basketball that had rolled into his yard was arrested in Florida Thursday afternoon, authorities said. So, was it was the girl with her friends, or was there multiple children in the house? You know, that he had more than just a daughter. That is made unclear. The violence was the latest in a string of recent shootings sparked by seemingly trivial circumstances. Yes, let's see. It started off with a 16-year-old boy making the heinous act of going to the wrong house to pick up his brothers, and this elderly man who, actually, the way he was slouched over, he reminded me of my grandfather. But he was scared. Now, people are screaming racism in that case. It could be. It might not necessarily be. It could be unconscious racism, because from what I understand in that case, he from what I understand in that case, he asked about the victim after he turned himself in. So, consciously, he's not racist, but he did prejudge this kid because he's 6 feet, and I will admit, when I first left my little town and went away to school, and I would see young black men, I would feel uncomfortable and I would hate myself because they were just there on campus just like anybody else. And there was absolutely no reason for me to be freaked out. So, and I got better because I knew that I had this unconscious bias. So I got better about it. This guy and his grandson even mentioned that he fell into the conspiracy rabbit hole. So, like I said, it might not necessarily be because this kid was black. But then again, it also might be an unconscious prejudice. However, just the fact that the NRA teaches people that you should be afraid of your own shadow and you always need to have a gun with you. Because let's face it, this kid rang the doorbell. This guy admitted the kid rang the doorbell because that's totally what thugs and muggers do. They ring the damn doorbell. So that was the first case, and he, of course, has pled not guilty. Then the second one was, now both parties in this case were white, but these two cars of people were looking for a house. I think this was in New York? Somewhere in New York. Not New York City, the state of New York. And so, of course, what do you do when you see a car pull into the driveway? You obviously get yourself a gun and shoot at them because they're not supposed to be there. Because using a person's driveway to back up and turn around is something that's completely unusual. Or just simply pulling into a wrong driveway because you think you're at the right house. Again, that happens. That's a thing. People make mistakes, especially if you're in a neighborhood you're not familiar with. You're just looking, and who knows, maybe they were just thinking, let's pull in here and ask for directions. That's also a thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But no, he decided to shoot at the cars. And he claimed that it wasn't his intent to kill anybody. What exactly did you think was going to happen when you shot exactly in these people's direction? Did you think the bullet was going to magically miss? I mean, they're not going to exactly stand still. They see you're shooting. They're going to get the hell out of there. I mean, duh. I'm not sure what he thought was going to happen. We don't even know why he shot at them. I mean, they were just a bunch of kids who were looking for a friend's house. Again, it's amazing that groups like the NRA have scared so many people into thinking that the world is scary. People are scary. So I must defend myself over any little thing that moves. Now, do I have a high opinion of people? No, I don't. But it's not because I think they're going to hurt me. I just think they're in general disappointing. So, but that's entirely different than what these people are being taught. These people are being taught that people are scary and you must shoot them before they hurt you, even though they've given no indication that's what they intended to do. And then the third one before this was two Texas cheerleaders, who I assume were teenagers, parked in a carpool lot, which I found out later was a grocery store parking lot. And one of the girls got out and thought she was getting into her car, and it turned out that she got into somebody else's because she saw somebody sitting there who, he looked Hispanic to me. So she gets out of the car, gets back into her friend's car, and when he comes up, she's going to apologize, and he just shoots them. Now, okay, in this case, the danger was past. She left. She had no intention of doing anything. She just oops, made a mistake, and left. My parents have done this, that they've tried to put groceries in the wrong car. And then they realize it's the wrong car. They all laugh and move about their day because it's not that big of a freaking deal. So, yeah. People, I don't even know what to make of this one. I don't think it was just because you're scared of everything that moves, because he waited till she left and went back into the other car before he shot at her. And, I mean, the danger is past at that point, so why? So now we just need to get a story of an Asian person being a complete and utter idiot, and then we'll have every major racial category doing something stupid. Because we have 3 of the 4 right now. Because, my God. Or maybe he's afraid of white girls. I don't know. This is just stupid. Anyway, moving on with this story. Robert Louis Singletary, 24, was arrested in the Tampa area by Hillsborough County deputies, according to online jail records. He was being held without bail on a fugitive warrant. He's scheduled to appear in court on Friday. I heard that he had turned himself in, so okay. Maybe I was mixing things up because that first guy, the elderly guy, did turn himself in. And like I said, he was afraid because of his age, and the guy in front of him was 6 feet. Even though, I'm sorry, but, so, he's 6 feet. Big deal. If I was afraid of everyone who is bigger than me, I'd be screwed. Because that's pretty much everybody I've ever met. Unless you are a little person, and, possibly with dwarfism or whatever, I'm going to be taller than you. I'm going to be taller. Otherwise, I'm shorter than everybody. I'm not even 5 feet. So if I went by this logic, I would be Rambo. I would be killing everyone all around me because, hell, my best friend when I was in grade school, I had to do that because she was that much bigger than me. So that's not a good reason. Oh, hey, he's 6 feet. Yes, this guy was 84, but so? So yeah, this is just, so yeah, I was probably mixing those up, but still, what the hell? Like I said, there's gotta be something to this case. There's gotta be more than just a basketball rolling into his yard. Maybe it is, but because these are neighbors, I'm going to say that there's a underlying history between these 2 neighbors, because I mean, these other 3 stories are proof that you'll shoot for the dumbest of reasons, but I'd like to believe that at least one of these people actually shot for a good reason. Because let's face it, neighbors can piss each other off, so I'm not saying it was an actual good reason, but I'm going to hold out that maybe there was another reason, and that this basketball was just the last straw. Because from what I hear, the father of this little girl tried to direct the fire towards him by shooting back at him. So yeah, I question what's going on between these 2. Anyway, Gaston County Police Chief Stephen Zill said at a news conference Wednesday that his department and the U.S. Marshals Service Regional Fugitive Task Force has been conducting a broad search for Singletary, who fled after the Tuesday night shootings near Gastonia, a city of roughly 80,000 people west of Charlotte. Singletary had been out on bond in a December attack in which authorities say he assaulted a woman with a hammer. He was also wanted in Tuesday's shootings on 4 counts of attempted first-degree murder, 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon with the intent of inflicting serious injury. What? And 1 count of being a felon in possession of a firearm. Zill declined to say what sparked the attack, explaining that the investigation was ongoing. So it sounds like this guy has some serious anger management issues. So maybe this was all it took to make him lose his shit. Or, like I said, maybe there was something going on that the neighbor had been pissing him off without, irrationally pissing him off, in the sense that the neighbor didn't actually do anything wrong. Or maybe there is something, like I said, something to this, because neighbors have that effect on each other. All right. However, neighbor Jonathan Robertson said the attack happened after some neighborhood children went to retrieve a basketball that had rolled into Singletary's yard. He said Singletary, who had yelled at the children on several occasions since moving to the neighborhood, went inside his home, came back out with a gun, and began shooting as parents frantically tried to get their kids to safety. Oh, good. He's one of those, even though he's not an old person, he's the stereotype of the old person that said, damn kids, get off my lawn. Wonderful. You're 24 years old. What the hell? But based on the fact he has a rap sheet, sounds like someone has anger management issues. Because, okay, a basketball went into your yard and kids went to retrieve it. It's not that big of a deal. And this is coming from someone who's not a fan of kids to begin with. And yeah, to say this is an overreaction is an understatement. All right. As soon as I saw him coming out shooting, I was hollering at everybody to get down, get inside, Robertson said. A 6-year-old girl, Kinsley White, was grazed by a bullet in the left cheek and was treated at a hospital and released. She and her family said. Her father, Jamie White, who had run to her aid, was shot in the back. He remained hospitalized Thursday with serious wounds, including liver damage, according to Kinsley's grandfather and neighbor Carl Hildebrand. The girl's mother, Ashley Hildebrand, was grazed in the elbow. Authorities say Singletary also shot at another man but missed. So, everything I said about some underlying reasoning for this, and that I thought I heard that this guy had shot it back to try to get the attention of the shooter, sounds like that's all wrong, and he was just trying to protect his little girl and got shot for it. For basically being a parent of children who play basketball. Oh, God. Like I said, there still could be some underlying reasoning that this was the last straw for this guy for. That's still on the table. But it's obvious this man has anger management issues. He has serious anger issues. Because, what the hell? Okay, imagine that. Kids playing are kids playing. I just don't understand what the problem is. Alright, let me continue. It was very scary, Ashley Hildebrand said Wednesday. My daughter actually got to come home last night. She just had a bullet fragment in her cheek. And I saw this on the news. You could see dried blood and on her cheek, which was very prominent because she had very peaches and cream type skin, and she had stitches, but that just did not belong. That scar did not belong on that little girl's face. And for playing basketball? Anyway, let's see here. It's the latest in a string of recent U.S. shootings that occurred for apparently trivial reasons, including the wounding of a black teenage honor student in Missouri who went to the wrong address to pick up his younger brothers, who, by the way, has been doing nonstop crying. And his mother is saying that he's probably reliving the incident over and over. I mean, that poor kid is probably wondering what he did wrong, besides the obvious of going to the wrong house, that should not be the kid's fault. Okay, he went to the wrong house. Shit happens. If you're given an address and you just remember part of it and you go to the wrong street, that should not be a cause to be shot. So, hopefully this kid is going to be okay. Let's see. The killing of a woman who was in a car that pulled into the wrong upstate New York driveway. So I remember that correctly. It was upstate New York. And yes, that was at least that's the state of this country. I was thrilled to find out that it was a white man shooting at white students. I was thrilled that there was no chance of there being a racial motive. And that's just depressing and sad and pathetic that even has to be considered. Let's see. And the wounding of 2 Texas cheerleaders after one apparently mistakenly got into a car that she thought was her own, which I also mentioned. So that's the end of that article. And I'm really curious how many of these people legally purchased weapons. I would say probably all of them. Well, maybe not that Robert Louis Singletary, because he's got a rap sheet. So he probably had to go through a bit more rigmarole to get a gun. Or maybe not. This is North Carolina, which just passed a law that any old schmo can legally own a handgun. So it's still possible that all these people purchase these guns legally, and it makes you wonder what the hell is wrong with these people, that all of these incidents were just people making a mistake, kids making a mistake, because that happens. You see a car that looks like yours, you think it's yours. You think you've got the address right, and then oopsie daisy, you mistook the address. And then you're like, oh, let me call my parents and find out what the correct address is supposed to be. Or oh, kids are playing in the street and the basketball went into my yard. Big deal. They'll just pick it up and go about playing. I fail to see how anybody who thinks that shooting people in that instance should be allowed to have a gun. Because, my God, all I know is that the NRA is scaring people shitless, telling them that these incidents are scary as hell and that you should have a gun to protect yourself, because you never know when these people are going to be dangerous. Because obviously a bunch of 6-year-olds playing basketball is the epitome of danger. No, this guy has an anger management issue. He has a rap sheet. He had no business owning a gun. The others, it was a matter of, what the hell is wrong with you? The guy, like I said in the Texas cheerleader case, the danger was past. Even if he was scared for his life, she got into the car, got out of the car, got back into the other car that she initially came in. Not a big deal. Okay, they made a mistake, let them go. He got out of the car and shot them for no reason. And I would love to hear what his reasoning is. I'm not saying it's going to be understandable. Actually, I'm pretty sure it won't be. But people do this for reasons. They might be bullshit reasons, like the elderly white man who shot this kid because, oh my God, there's a big guy standing in front of me, and I've got to protect myself because the NRA is telling me that young men are thugs and I need to defend myself against them. And as I said, it was probably an unconscious racism, unconscious prejudice, because it was a big black kid, a 6 foot tall black kid. So obviously doesn't justify what he did, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with Fox News and the NRA telling people that they should be afraid of their own freaking shadow. So, we really need to do something about this. Another reason why Dominion choosing not to drag Fox News through the mud is so disappointing, because they're a part of it. They are totally a part of this. The NRA definitely should not have this much sway on people, because, yeah, okay, you want to protect yourself. Wonderful. Exactly what is it about this situation that's scary? That is, I mean, like the old man. The guy rang the doorbell. If he was this horrible individual, you were getting ready for bed. You were in a vulnerable state. You could have, if this guy was as bad as you thought he was, he would just break in and hurt you that way. He doesn't need to ring the doorbell. How do these people breathe on their own? I mean, it's just mind-boggling stupid. Anyway, that's all I have for this video, because I'm just pissing myself off. And I will see you guys next time.